Hey folks, welcome to day 3 of me making good financial decisions. Allow me to demonstrate by making a good financial decision on the Nintendo eShop. Well, we had a good run.
Fuck math, who needs it? I know a lot of things. One of my favorite things I know is your address. And I also know that math just isn't really my thing. Yeah, I'm more of a humanities type of guy myself. You can tell by the fact that my parents aren't proud of me. But that being said, math can be okay. It stimulates a different part of the brain from what I normally use, and it can be kind of like solving a puzzle. So let's say that every once in a while you want to do some math. But what do you do when you want to do math, but you also need to log enough hours to prevent your membership from getting revoked? Well, you can skip one meal.
The Nintendo Switch Calculator, also known as Humanity's Peak. You might ask, what kind of idiot would pay $10 for a digital calculator? Well, probably the same idiot who paid $90 for a real one.
Overall, this calculator served me well, and I'd argue it was actually a fairly worthwhile investment. But hey, what about that relatable situation where you really need to do a math problem, but you don't have your calculator, or a computer, or a phone, but you do have your Nintendo Switch on you? Well, then the Nintendo Switch calculator has got you covered. Maths? This isn't England! Okay, I'll let that one slide. I mean, look at all the math I can do on this thing. Okay, for some reason, some of the functions display incredibly weirdly on here. When I type the square root of a number, it displays in the corner as the number times the square root of that number, but the answer that it shows is just the square root of that number. Meanwhile, logarithms are just completely fucked up. Typing 5 times the log of 6 shows as 6 log 5. And it isn't even the right answer! The answer that it's showing is just the log of 6, and you can also find the log of 6 by just typing log 6 equals, which makes sense, except it shows as 6 log 0, which is negative infinity. While typing it the other way as 6 log also gives you the right answer, but it shows as 6 log 6. What's happening here? Yes, technically speaking, I am able to figure out what it is displaying, but the fact that I had to figure it out at all because the display doesn't just match the math that it's doing is a problem that I didn't even think was possible for a calculator to have. So not only does the Nintendo Switch calculator fail at being a good use of my money, it also fails at being a calculator. There's not even a damn parentheses button on this thing. Well, at the very least, you could maybe use it to get away with playing video games in class. If your teacher calls you out for being on your Switch, you could be like, "No, teacher, I'm using it to do my math problems." And then they'll be like, "This is a history class."
The Nintendo Switch calculator, in all honesty, is a little disappointing. Although initially showing some promise, it ultimately falls short as a result of an unpolished presentation and shallow gameplay. Although the developers clearly had some lofty ambitions for this title, it just doesn't offer enough for it to be a compelling alternative to similar games that are already on the market. The one thing that it is good for is calculating how much credibility you have left after buying a calculator on the Nintendo Switch. Give up.